So what's the future going to bring? We see programs, voluntary programs like LEAD that will continue to expand, already in 34 state governments and over 400 cities and towns. We see a constant stair-step improving the efforts for efficiency and greenness as we proceed toward greater sustainability. We see Architecture 2030 coming at us and saying, okay, here's the construct. What we're looking at here in 2015, if you sign on to Architecture 2030, what you're saying is, I'm going to design a building that consumes 70% less fossil fuels than a baseline building. Okay, well, how are you going to do that? Let's break it down. If you design it to be more energy efficient than the code, you can get 30, 40, 50% without losing a great deal of sleep, depending upon the building type and location and all these other things. Small print, right? I mean, it can be tough up there. 30%, no problem, typically. But getting above that's tougher. And then they also have a side note that says you can't use more than 20% of that total by purchasing renewable energy credits. So you can't just write a check and buy RECs, okay? So that, oh, okay, I was going to do that. Well, we can't do that now. Okay, so I've got a building that's 40% more efficient than the code, and now I've got, okay, I'm going to buy RECs. I'll buy 20% of those. Let's see, 70 minus 60. I've got 10% delta. How do I make this up? Well, maybe I'm building a mid-rise office building. Well, I need some solar. Maybe. Well, how can I put that much solar on that building? The roof won't give us enough. It's maybe 1 or 2%. Well, guess what? You know what's been going down in price a lot lately? Photovoltaic panels. And there's some technologies out there, some thin films, that are pretty interesting. Saint-Gobain has some interesting SIGS stuff now that can be used to replace the glazing in curtain walls, and can be done as you're replacing that curtain wall glazing at just a cost trade-out, leveraging the incentives so it becomes a relatively neutral expense. And then the analysis, and I've seen the analysis Jesse Henson has done, suggests that you could get upwards on a south-facing building of 20% of your total energy requirement with this SIGS technology implemented into a curtain wall. Totally different world now. It's always changing. We have the capability to understand what some of these elements are. Labeling. This is coming. How many of you have been to restaurants in California and have looked for the ones that have the C or the D in the window? Right? You know the health department goes through, and if it's an A, it's got to be by the front door, right? I haven't seen many C's and D's, but is there anybody in here who would be looking for those kinds? No, of course not. So what about buildings? If your energy quotient, your label, says that you got a D, are you going to be trying to rent space in that building? I don't think so. Are you going to be as interested in buying that building without negotiating a sweet deal? I don't think so. So we look at it and we see what's happening. We're going to see changes. Changes are upon us. We will see labels, Energy Star labels. We will see LEED labels. All these aspects, hopefully, we'll find that these buildings are starting to be operated more efficiently. All critical. Studies by smart folks like McKinsey. By 2020, a comprehensive energy efficiency program can reduce business as usual energy consumption by 23% through cost-effective energy efficiency improvements. How about National Academies of Science? Energy efficiency technologies can save 30% of the energy used in the U.S. economy, 15% by 2020, 30% by 2030. Huge. Okay? Everybody's saying this can be done. Well, why aren't we doing it? Now, jobs. Let's talk jobs. What have we been hearing about jobs lately from folks who want to be president or who are president or whatever? Manufacturing. Yeah, manufacturing is important. Investments in energy efficiency are 3 times, that's 3.0, 3 times more economically productive than investments in manufacturing alone, and create 3.4 times as many jobs. NARUC, National Association of Regulatory Utility, whatever the C stands for. Conservation, no. Committee, no. Entergy, a large utility, right? Now let's break it down. One of my alma maters, Economics, University of Massachusetts, Political Economy Research Institute. They broke it down. They said, okay, technology manufacturing, jobs created in technology manufacturing and installations. For every $1 million invested, you're going to get 13.6 jobs out of that. And that's just making the stuff and installing the stuff. But guess what? The reason that you bought that stuff is because you've hired some facility managers, some certified energy managers, some folks who can measure and report so that it can be managed and improved, who can drop your energy costs in your building. And facility operations, for every $1 million spent, 17.4 jobs created. That's the energy managers when we get serious. And now, hold on to your seat, there's the next level. It's the respending aspect. So if I are a building owner and I hire an energy manager, and that energy manager comes to me and says, hey, guess what, boss? We can invest in these energy conservation measures, which will create more jobs for the manufacturing and the installation. But by the way, you'll have money saved to the bottom line, which you can now put back into the building and improve the building and maybe improve your lot in the community. It's all good. That's how it creates jobs. We have folks like the New Buildings Institute that have been doing some tremendous research focusing on energy efficiency and conservation in buildings, where they studied 50 different buildings with an average of greater than 40% energy cost savings. And they dug down deep. I highly recommend that you go to a lot of these footnotes and read some of these studies. They're pretty darn good. But you look at that, almost 50% of them used 4 or more energy conservation measures. So frequency of measures. Those 3 are lighting. High efficiency lighting, you've got day lighting and lighting controls, right? But now there are also commissioning, where you go through and commission to make sure the systems work properly, as they're intended, and they actually perform. One of the most important and highest payback activities in the built environment, in my opinion. High efficiency HVAC systems, another very commonly used measure. EMS, and BMS, and metering, the electronic ability to capture data, compile the data into information, present it as knowledge, so that people can react. Your facility managers, your owners, the C-suite people who maybe write the check for some of your investments. And then lastly, some of the more architectural elements. Sometimes it's harder to change out to change out windows, put on a cool roof when you need to recoat the roof. But those were some of the other measures that were done. Daylighting. With the utility, after working in utilities for 17 years, one of the things you realize is it only counts if it's coupled with controls, if it's guaranteed almost to occur. Okay? You can't bet on somebody pulling the blinds. It has to be automatic shading from the outside and the like. Advanced HVAC, underfloor air distribution, chilled beams, heat recovery, variable refrigerant flow, all of these aspects, these are some of the tools in your toolbox, the ability to meet and exceed the codes that you're going to be learning about today. And being able to compare these to various baselines is quite critical. And they found in this study, the New Buildings study, was that the folks who were striving towards stretch goals were the ones who achieved the greatest results at not as much cost as they ever anticipated they would cost, which is really impressive. Commonalities, market awareness, owners, leaders, high-profile approaches, mission-driven approaches, money, focusing on the bottom line and on life cycle costs, and also integration of the technologies into systems, treating them as systems, energy-effective lighting, not just energy-efficient lighting, leveraging day lighting and task lighting and putting things where they need to be and controlling them. So what do the cards tell us? Buildings are major energy consumers. Energy savings impact the bottom line. Energy efficiency can drive the economy if we allow it. There are many incentives to leverage. Stringent codes and mandates are coming. And the wisdom that you can take from this, learn to develop and operate buildings that exceed energy codes. Learn these codes from these brilliant folks who are going to be teaching you here today. Be able to take this information as your baseline. Learn it, know it, and find a way that you can leverage it. Leverage all the incentives that are available out there. Talk to Stephanie. Talk to the folks here from APS and from Salt River Project. If there's folks in here from Energize Phoenix, talk to them. You must exercise your green muscles. It's important. Flex your muscles. Do the right thing. Focus on the trends and the opportunities, the programs and the codes. Target the markets that you wish to target. Retrofit and niche markets. Use the systems that are going to meet code requirements, meet your owner's goals, or exceed them with a good life cycle cost. Embrace it, forge it, innovate, whether you're setting codes, enforcing codes, or leveraging them. And thank you very much.